You know what time it is? You know what time it is. It's Jamez Report time, baby. It's the Jamez Report time. Thank you all for tuning in, baby. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Has it not been a minute? You ain't seen me in a minute. I'm back. I'm still at it. Don't you worry. I'm still at it. I'm still here, baby. Don't you worry about a thing. Oh, welcome to the Jamez Report, ladies and gentlemen. I tried something a little different. I know I have been gone for a while. I want to thank you all for who've been sticking with me. I know it's been a minute since I've been on here giving you this up-to-date news on the WWE and the world of wrestling entertainment. So let me just jump right into it. You waited this long. I want to thank you all once again for tuning in. Monday Night Raw was actually a pretty good show. And today's show of the Jamez Report, we're going to cover what's next for Randy Orton, what's next for Drew McIntyre, who is the new women's champion. All that and more coming up. What did Dominic do when he seen Seth Rollins face to face? All that and more coming up. So right off the get-go, if you like this content, you like what I'm doing, hit that like button, hit that share button, and most importantly, hit that free, yes, I said free, subscribe button. That way you never miss an up-to-date video from Mr. Jamez and his Jamez Report. I'm here giving you the latest news in WWE and AEW. So I'm not playing favoritisms. I like both shows. So with all that being said, let's get into it. Monday Night Raw opened up in a very good way, big way. It opened up with none other than the legend killer himself, Randy Orton, coming down to the ring. How do you become the most hated man in WWE when you are pretty much unhateable? Because let's face it, folks, Randy Orton, he's a legend himself. He's someone that you can't really hate on too often. Even when he plays a heel, you still respect him and you still want to see him win certain matches. So that all being said, how do you do that? You come after and you attack The Rock. And most importantly, you attack Stone Cold Steve Austin and what they have accomplished in the WWE, pretty much saying that you have overachieved anything that they have done in their careers, which you could make that argument to an extent due to the fact that Austin had to retire very early in his career because of his injuries, mainly his neck, and The Rock went on to become a movie star in Hollywood. So yes, you could make that argument, but let's not forget that Steve Austin is the biggest wrestling star to ever walk the planet of the earth. I'm not just saying that because I'm a huge Austin fan, but you look at what he had done in his stardom. There's not been anyone to really replicate that. Sure, you had Hogan, and sure, you had John Cena, but at the end of the day, Austin don't get boos. People would boo Austin when he was a bad guy, but people would boo Hogan, and people will boo Cena, but Austin has the overwhelming love still to this day. So Orton comes out and pretty much says his accolades, and one thing is eluding him. One thing's missing, and that would be none other than, you guessed it, the WWE Championship, which is held by none other than Drew McIntyre. So he challenges Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. And if you all recall, I said that this match needs to happen at SummerSlam. I ain't going to sit here and predict what's going to happen in that match, as we will find out if Drew accepted or not, which if anyone knows Drew McIntyre, I think we know where this is going. On Orton's way out, Nia Jax would then come to the ring. Yes, Nia Jax has returned after a couple of weeks of hiatus, and pretty much say that she wants a rematch for the Women's Championship against Asuka or whoever wins the Raw title, only to be interrupted by none other than the other woman who has returned to wrestling, and Shayna Baszler. And Shayna comes out and says, "No one cares what you want, Nia." Nia hits her with a quick cheap shot, and then it comes to find out that this will be a match. The next match on the card would be none other than the triple threat tag team match between Andrade, Angel Garza, Viking Raiders, and Cedric Alexander and Ricochet to see who would be facing Street Profits at SummerSlam. If anybody's been following WWE Raw, you would know that Andrade and Angel Garza were going to win this match, and they would end up winning a match by pinning, you probably guessed it, Cedric Alexander. Once again, Vince McMahon does not like Cedric that well and doesn't like Ricochet that well. So it only makes sense to protect the Viking Raiders by not letting them lose in this match by getting pinned or submitted, but by having them not be in the ring in time to save the 3 count. I'm looking forward to this match. I don't know who I want to see walk out as champion between these two, whether I want to see Andrade and Angel Garza, or if I want to see the Street Profits continue to reign. But the Street Profits have been gone for such a long time that really the tag team titles, I even forgot that they even had a tag team title on Raw. But it's been that long since they've really been on Raw as a prominent tag team. Next match will be Nia Jax versus Shayna Baszler. I really only got one thought on this match. What was that? You know, WWE, let me tell you something. If anyone's seeing this from WWE, I like you. But man, you make it so hard to defend you sometimes. And I'm not going to defend you in this case. Okay, folks, if you don't know what happened, I'm going to break it down for you real quick. Nia Jax comes out, has a promo, wants a shot. Shayna Baszler comes out, has her little promo, pretty much saying she wants a shot. That being said, they have a match, very quickly set up, only to have them to get counted out within 13 seconds, maybe 15 seconds, after the match began. What in the world is WWE thinking? I get it, they're trying to protect Nia Jax, and they're trying to protect Shayna Baszler, but what on God's green earth was that? You want to make them look strong? You can have a count out later on in the match. Why would you waste my time? Why would you waste the fans' time? Something you could have just had happen when they was in the ring a half hour before that. Why on God's green earth would you make a match only to have them get counted out and have them get separated and have Shayna Baszler look like the weaker of the two? So I'm assuming they're going to try to make Shayna Baszler a babyface to an extent. I don't know how far deep they're going to go into that, but to make her look more as the babyface. So I don't know what that was. I don't know what they was thinking. I really wish they would have done something different. They didn't do it. Don't know what to say. I was highly disappointed at that fact. Next will be Seth Rollins will come out and have his promo. For those of you who don't know, he won the eye for an eye match against Rey Mysterio. And a very interesting finish to that match. Dominic, which is Rey Mysterio's son, is going to come out and confront Seth Rollins. That was promoted before the show. So he invites him out. He invites Dominic out. Invites him down to the ring. Does the Seth Rollins things where he's trying to play the Messiah and don't need to be violent. Tell me what you think. Dominic then attacks Seth Rollins, gets beat up, and it looks like they're going to put his eye in the steel staircase that he has been doing here recently, but he did to Dominic's father 2 Sundays ago, only to have Aleister Black, yes, Aleister Black, come out and save Dominic, only to have his eye shoved into the steel staircase by Buddy Murphy. Now, there's 2 things or thoughts for me on this. I love the fact that Murphy is the one that did it this time, to Aleister Black instead of Seth Rollins, but I really feel like they're milking this eye stuff out way too much. I don't want to see every single time Seth Rollins comes out there someone's eye getting shoved into the steel steps or threateningly getting into the steel steps. Why don't we have Seth Rollins do something different? Maybe he harms his opponents in different ways. It doesn't have to be the eye. It doesn't have to be, you know, when it first happened, it was the oh my God effect. When this eye for the eye match was announced, it's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? How is this going to happen? And then when you had the ending that you had for the eye to eye match, it kind of lost its appeal. It kind of lost everything that it had. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you guys think? What do you think about the Nia and Shayna Baszler angle? Did you like how they handled that situation? Let me know in the comments below. What's some things that they could have done differently in that situation? Please let me know in the comments below. Hit the like and hit that subscribe button. That way you continue to get up-to-date videos from none other than Mr. Jamez right here. Now, next would be the VIP Lounge, which will set up the match between Mustafa Ali versus Bobby Lashley. During this match, you would see, before the match even began during the VIP Lounge, R-Truth to try to win back his 24/7 championship from Shelton Benjamin, only to fail, get chased out of the arena. The match between Bobby Lashley and Mustafa Ali was handled very well. And maybe I'm speaking too soon, but I really feel like WWE has finally figured out how to use Bobby Lashley. He is coming out, and he completely dominated that match. Did Mustafa Ali get some advantages? Yes. He finally got a comeback, if you will, when Tozawa tried to pin Shelton Benjamin outside the ring and failed at that as well. And have all the ninjas. And Bobby Lashley, that poor ninja, rest in peace, my guy. You not only got freaking thrown into the steel ring post, or electronic ring post, whatever. Bobby Lashley demolished you, my guy. Only had Mustafa Ali. That's how Mustafa Ali got his upper hand. But they didn't let Mustafa Ali do too much. He would get a little bit of hand, and then they let Bobby Lashley dominate and squash him. That's what they need to do with Bobby Lashley. That's how they need to handle Bobby Lashley. If you want to push him as this big monster heel, then that's what you need to do. When you're going against a smaller opponent, and anybody who's in the wrestling industry knows this. If you're a big guy, you don't want to sell an awful lot to someone the size of Mustafa Ali if you are the way bigger competitor. And Bobby Lashley was by far the way bigger competitor. There was a moment where it looked like that Mustafa Ali was going to get the win, and it wouldn't happen, and Bobby Lashley would dominate Mustafa Ali. And I believe this was a benefit for not only Mustafa Ali to help this storyline kind of continue, but it really helped out the Hurt business and make business good once again. And once again, I want to say that I really like Shelton Benjamin being the 24/7 champion, because I believe the belt needs a little bit more, it don't need so much clowniness to it. And that's not a shot at or truth. I believe that title needs to have some prestige done to it. And I believe Shelton Benjamin is bringing some seriousness to the title. And that's what the title needs. It don't need to be perfectly serious. It doesn't need to be like the WWE World Heavyweight title, the WWE Universal Championship. It doesn't need to be like the women's or the All Women's or the SmackDown Women's Championship. It can have its playfulness, it can have its laughs, but it doesn't need to be all fun and games. Make it serious, make it worth something, make it mean something if you hold that title. And I believe having Shelton Benjamin hold the title is doing just that. And I believe it gives Shelton Benjamin something to do finally, because he's been in the back burner for God knows why. Because you got someone that talented as Shelton Benjamin, you need to get him involved in your show. Maybe he doesn't have the greatest mic skills, but his in-ring ability and the size of which he is and the veteranship that he brings to the WWE, you need to capitalize on, ladies and gentlemen from the WWE. You need to capitalize. And I believe you are with MVP, because he's the mouth. He can wrestle, but he's the mouth. You got the muscle, which is Bobby Lashley, and then you got the in-between guy, the exciting guy, in Shelton Benjamin. I believe you put all three of them together, which you have, you are going to build something special if you do it right. So I'm interested to see where that's going to continue. Now, this is the moment that you all been waiting for, I guarantee it. And before I get into it, how do you feel about Shelton Benjamin holding that 24/7 championship? Do you want to see him lose it here shortly, or do you want to see him have an extended reign as the 24/7 championship? Let me know in the comments below. Don't be afraid to comment. I'm not a mean guy. I'm a nice guy. Believe that. Now, the WWE Raw's Women's Championship match was next on the card. Sasha Banks, Asuka, who was going to walk out new Raw Women's Champion. Asuka wasn't holding the belt. They wasn't calling her the World's Women's Champion. And they wasn't calling Sasha the Raw Women's Champion. So this was the match of the night in my personal and professional opinion. It was another show-stealing match, which they had at Extreme Rules. It was handled very nicely. Kairi Sane chased Bayley outside of the ring. That way Bayley couldn't get involved. You had a strictly one-on-one match with Sasha Banks and Asuka. And it did not disappoint in the very least. Asuka played the babyface very well. Sasha played the heel, who had the upper hand because Asuka's knee got injured. And she was trying to do everything she could do to win the title, even by taking a move out of Eddie Guerrero's book by throwing the title in Asuka's hands and then falling down, even though the referee seen it and saying, "No, I just saw you do that." I thought the match was very well handled by both competitors, and it was a great match. An awesome match. I really wish fans were in the arena so they could have been cheering on for this match. But once again, they just, for whatever reason, WWE's having trouble with the ending of these great matches. They kind of insult all the hard work that these competitors, these superstars, are putting in to the match itself. They did it at Extreme Rules with Asuka and Sasha. They did it at Extreme Rules with Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio. They kind of did it with Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, depending on how you like that cinematic match that they had in the swamp. So here's how the match ends. It shows Kairi Sane getting beat up by Bayley backstage. Nothing significant happens that would distract Asuka enough to do what she did. She was distracted. She had the match won. She couldn't take her eyes off the video. And now you might be thinking, oh, well, that means Sasha Banks rolled her up or hit her with a bank statement or got the advantage somehow. No, absolutely not. They have her leave the ring, choosing Kairi Sane's health over the WWE Raw Women's Championship. And by the way, this is the last match that Kairi Sane is going to, well, not match, but episode of Raw that Kairi Sane's going to be a part of because she is leaving the WWE. So this is the last time you will see her on WWE TV for a very, very long time. There was an electric box right there up against the wall by the garage door. For the love of God, why did you not have her get electrocuted? Why do you not have Bayley throw her into it and the thing explodes, electrocuting, not in real life, electrocuting Kairi Sane, where it would be legitimate reason to get her written off the show, make Asuka care, make her want to leave the ring to go check on her friends. Something of significance, not just beating her up backstage. People get beat up backstage all the time. So why is this so significant that Kairi Sane gets her butt handed to her by Bayley that would cause Asuka to give up the Raw Women's Championship when she had it won, to leave the ring, get counted out. Yes, counted out in a Raw Women's Championship match. This match that a lot of people were looking forward to, especially myself, and have that type of payoff for such a great match. It made absolutely no sense why they did such a thing. I don't understand it. I can't understand it. I wish I could tell you why, but I don't know why. So I don't know what to tell you. Here's what I can tell you. I don't disagree with making Sasha Banks the champion. I may disagree how it happened, but I do not disagree with having Sasha Banks as a champion. Here's why. Sasha Banks is probably one of the hottest female superstars in the WWE right now. She's been having fun. She's been getting better. Her matches have been off the chain here recently. She's feeling healthy. She gets the women's championship. Now you got 2 belt Banks, 2 belts Bayley, 2 belts, whatever she's calling herself. They're calling themselves role models. Now they have all the female championship titles except for the NXT's women's championship, which Banks did challenge for and failed to gain. You had a title change on Monday Night Raw. It all had the logics all there. And I don't have no problem with Sasha Banks being the champion. I think she deserves to be Raw Women's Champion. I said it. But let me tell you this. The way they handled Asuka's title reign, she has every right to be, pardon my language, she has every right to be pissed. She has every right to be upset with how WWE handled her. She comes out and says that no one's ready for Asuka. Apparently, WWE writers don't know how to write for Asuka. Every time she's had a title reign, it's not been significant, for the most part. Besides NXT, I think Triple H knows how to handle Asuka, but I don't think WWE writers in general know how to handle Asuka. It's quite sad. She gets the belt from Becky, from winning Money in the Bank. She defends against Nia Jax, which wasn't that great of a match, which I believe, I can't remember how the match ended for say, right off the top of my head. She has a match against Charlotte Flair where she defends the title against Charlotte Flair, but Charlotte Flair is nursing an injury to her arm that Nia Jax gave her earlier that night, based on the storyline. So she doesn't even get a clean victory over Sasha that gives her any credentials or credits. Why would you give someone a championship only to not give them a decent run? And the run that they did have, which it was a 2-month run or so, not mean jack squat. It's kind of like you just slapped the belt on Asuka and not really believing in Asuka. So Asuka has every right, if she's upset to how this was all handled. I would be upset with how this is all handled. If I was in her shoes, absolutely I'd be mad and upset at the way they handled my storyline as a champion. Not saying she won't get another shot, but I'm just saying that the way they did it wasn't very good, wasn't very smart. But here's a couple of possibilities, and hear me out if you will. Then let me know what you think. Here's some possible paths that could happen here. Bayley and Sasha's egos get in the way of each other, okay? SummerSlam's right around the corner. Who's the better champion? Both titles get put on the line. SmackDown's Women's Championship, Raw Women's Championship. I would say they would already have lost the tag team championships at this time. The ego's getting away of who is the better out of the two of them for reals. They keep toying us along with this Sasha versus Bayley match, and it needs to happen because if you wait too long, the magic's going to be gone. So you need to get on the ball here, WWE. Have them face each other, champion versus champion match. Who's the better champion? Or one loses the title before SummerSlam, or even at SummerSlam, but before SummerSlam preferably. Let's say Bayley loses the SmackDown Women's Championship on SmackDown some point in time before SummerSlam. Bayley doesn't have a championship belt except for the tag team championships, which eventually, yes, they would lose them championships, like I said. Now she don't have any championships. Sasha Banks, on the other hand, has the Raw Women's Championship belt. Bayley gets jealous. Bayley goes after the championship at SummerSlam or the pay-per-view after SummerSlam. Or vice versa. It could be Sasha going after Bayley's championship. It doesn't have to be Bayley, but I believe, why not make it Bayley? She's already the heel. Sasha's the more the fan favorite out of the two. It'd be an easy transition to make Sasha the babyface. But that's just my idea. Let me know what you guys think. Did you like the way it ended? Do you agree with Asuka losing the title and how she lost it? Do you agree with how they handled Kairi Sane? Do you agree with what they're doing with Sasha and Bayley? Or did you absolutely just hate the outcome? Either way, put it in the comments below. Once again, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. I promise you I'm a nice guy. That way you always get up-to-date videos from me, Mr. Jamez. Now, the main event of the night was Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler. We don't know what the stipulation of the match was going to be. They changed it from being a title match to just a normal match between Dolph and Drew. Dolph comes out, addresses Randy Orton. He accepts the challenge to Randy Orton's at SummerSlam. Like I said, I'm really excited about this match. It's not enough known who I want to win yet out of the two of them because I can see either one of them walking out with that championship title belt wrapped around their waist at SummerSlam, but it needs to be the main event at SummerSlam. I'm going to say that right now. Make it the main event. Now, this match between Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, I'm not going to go into it. It was a great match. It was an awesome match. But the stipulation was the same thing it was as the Extreme Rules, except now Drew McIntyre could use weapons. Drew spent most of the time dominating the match. Drew went on to win this match, which was no surprise to anybody, especially with Randy Orton challenging for the title at the beginning of it all. So, and Drew McIntyre accepting the challenge. So we knew who was going to win this match. We knew that they were going to give Drew McIntyre some momentum. Only to be RKO'd out of nowhere by Randy Orton to end Raw. So overall, Raw was actually a really good show. There's a lot of things that happened. There's matches I didn't mention, but I didn't believe they needed mentioned. You can go back and watch Raw if you haven't watched it already. Or if you was waiting for this video to come out, I gave you a rundown of mainly what happens and the important events that transpire. What did you feel about Monday Night Raw? Did you like Monday Night Raw? Did you think it was a good show? Because I thought it was a good show. But maybe you disagree, and tell me why you disagree. Don't be afraid to comment down there, because I'm telling you, it's not just my page, it's your page too. So once again, I am Mr. Jamez. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I have a special video coming out this week. I will announce it when I do the AEW podcast, where that's going to be. Don't miss it. Be there or be square. Thank you all for tuning in, and you all have a great and wonderful day.